Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick, and this is Premarket Info.
And I'm Joel Elconin. On today's show, we will discuss Moody's comments to Draghi's statements from last week. Is it time to time to buy puts as I get bullish on the market? Can the breakout continue? We'll break down the charts and price points in the S&P 500 and several of its major components: Apple, AT&T, ExxonMobil, J&J, among a few others. And we'll discuss today's big merger, Shaw Group, being bought for $46 by CB&I Group.
Well, Joel, we broke out a bit over the top of that trading range there on Friday. Is this a real breakout or is this a fake out?
I think that the trading gods may have taken a look at my comments over the weekend, and now they're just ready to pound the market down.
They're going to pound it down. You got really bullish in your weekly outlook. Just for you listeners that are new to the show, Joel rates a weekly outlook over at Seeking Alpha. We have it republished on the site as well. You got pretty bullish here, though. This is his most bullish one I think I've ever seen him write. So is it going to be right here? Is this a real breakout here, or is Joel getting faked out? Well, I guess that's going to be determined. We are pulling back here a little bit here this morning, down 3.25 on the overall market with those comments from Moody's. Just to let you know what Moody's had said, they said the ECB can buy time. This was in response to Draghi's comments last week. The ECB can buy time, but its actions alone will not resolve the debt crisis.
Just to look at it from a technical perspective, we did open lower. The close of 1382.50 will be resistance, along with the Globex high 1381.50. Just kind of a soft number here, 1376. That was the high a few weeks back before we broke down. Slipped under that level in the Globex market, but minor support there and good resistance at the close.
Yeah, I guess if you subscribe to that theory where old resistance becomes new support, that whole 1375 1376 area pretty critical for this market to hold and continue on with the breakout. Obviously, we'd like to see it get above Friday's high there at 1385 the high?
1386.
1380. So we'd like to see it get up above there and then try to make a run for 1400. Obviously, lots of news coming out this week, but let's break down a little bit of the Big Ten. And starting with the big one, Apple started filling that gap. We talked about this gap last week when, obviously, off the earnings, it gapped from 600 down to the 570 area. Kind of consolidated for a couple days in a perfect channel between 570 and 580. But then on Friday, took out the upper end of that channel and started filling that gap. Can we get back up to 600 on Apple?
Well, all those Apple lovers out there that were looking at that down open last week from the earnings as just a gift, we're correct at this point. As we pointed out on Friday, you did have basically a double bottom and a double top, 570 to 580. We broke above that 580 level. I think kind of a little bit of just like the market momentum and everything. It was just like, hey, if you're buying stuff, why not buy Apple? So I would use that 580 as a minor support point. We are quite a bit above that now. But as you can see on the numbers on the site, I see nothing up to that 598.51.
Yeah.
That will fill the gap from the earnings. And then your old psychological $600 level. But it really looks as though Apple's going to shrug off those negative earnings. And now with this Twitter talk, get the rumor mill going.
Yeah, a little bit of rumors coming around that, maybe they'll speculate and buy Twitter here eventually. CNBC was just talking about a few minutes ago. Actually, Apple lifted a little bit when they were just talking about it. 589.50, so that's why I think you're seeing Apple get a little bit of a lift here this morning. AT&T in the news, though, on Friday, and this is interesting. So Friday after the bell, they come out, announce that they're increasing their stock buyback by another 300 million shares. So for 2 days here, the stock runs straight up, and then lo and behold, after the bell on Friday, they announce that they're doing a stock buyback here. So obviously somebody got the memo. But is this... I thought the game was buy low, sell high. Wouldn't the company be buying high here? Because this is a 4-year high on AT&T, and now they announce a stock buyback?
I don't know. I saw those comments, and I'm thinking one of two things. Either they're looking for a huge decline in the stock,
and they're going to buy the stock on the cheap.
They're going to buy it on the cheap, or they still feel that it's undervalued at these levels. I mean, there's a lot of air in here. As posting on the weekly comments, you're getting up into this 2008 vacuum area.
Right.
We're just cascaded down from the $40 level. This stock has just been talking about it forever. I guess it's just time to buy it and close your eyes. And if it goes down 5%, you might be, you're breaking even on the trade.
Well, the company obviously thinks that the stock's still undervalued, or they wouldn't be doing a stock buyback. I mean, you've got a lot of people coming into a stock like this just for the yields. 4.7 or 4.6%?
4.74.
4.74. So it's still yielding almost 5%. Obviously, can't get money anywhere else. The stock's been just a treasury bill, for lack of a better word, a treasury bill home, because people don't want to go into treasury bills anymore. They don't want to go into, they're looking for yield, and this is one of your better places to find it. I just get scared, though, when you get cautious investors buying this thing for the yield. Once it starts to pull back here, what happens? Do these investors, oh, I don't like losing money. I didn't know I could lose money on this, and do they start hitting the panic button? That would be the question, too. But it's breaking out. You can't argue with the charts, and maybe we do see $40 on this thing eventually.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm think I'm getting a little carried away with that $40 level. Just one thing about AT&T is some of the other stocks in the Big Ten. It will make a double top or a triple top. It will find a size seller and kind of feast on that area before it has a reversal.
Probably at $38.
Yeah,
Seems like there's 100,000 shares every point on this thing, and the high frequency guys find those and they lean on them. So it wouldn't surprise me if it even struggled at 38 today, or if it got up there. I don't know if it's going to get up there today, but as it continues to make this run.
Yeah, I just want to give the traders out there the pre-market high, and the pre-market high has been 37.62.
That was after hours on the Friday. I don't think it hit that, or did it hit there this morning too?
Well, actually, after hours on Friday, when everyone was heading out for the weekend, someone took the stock up to 37.77. In fact,
37.77. So that was a little bit overdone. Obviously, we're down $3. It's the big stock here. So, and there was already a buyback in place. They just increased it, right?
yeah, they increased it by 300 million shares. And folks, that doesn't mean that they're sending a market order on the open to buy 300 million shares.
Exactly. So that's going to be done for a while. So it means they're bullish their stocks. So obviously the market likes it when the market likes buybacks, and they're giving the stock probably a bit of a lift off that today. ExxonMobil has been getting a lift. This stock, we talked about this trend line that I've drawn here for you. Stock continues to move up, and we're getting right in this whole $88 area, which has been resistance quite a few times. We go back to April and May. We've topped out there in that whole area a couple of times. What do you think here on this one?
It's really reaching up back to that $88 level. 88.23 was your high back in February of 2011, and then the 52-week high at 87.94. Friday's high sniffed it, and then that late in the day with an expanded range, I'm sure the HFT guys were all over that stock, even in the 87, 80s. Above that level is July of 2008 high of 89.63, but there's some work to be done here at the $88 level.
Big number, big number. There's institutional sellers obviously up there that have been perched. The high frequency guys, like we keep reiterating on the show, they love to lean on those institutional sellers, so expect 87.90s to give you some good high frequency resistance if you're trading this thing today. Obviously if the stock goes into rally mode. But Chevron too has really been running here. Stock is approaching that $110 marker that hasn't seen since back in March. Probably going to be some sellers perched up there as well, I'd think.
Yeah, I mean, that's another stock that's had a big run. It tipped off the street a couple weeks ago when it alluded to better earnings. It did deliver on that. 110 will definitely be a level, and then I don't see much in the 110s. Next major level is 111.06, which is the March 19th high. I mean, it's easy to talk about resistance on these two stocks, but the thing is if they really start to break down, I mean, there's just not a lot of support in these stocks. For Chevron Corporation, for example, I don't see major support until 107 and a quarter. It's a couple bucks away from here, but just got to keep an eye on that level if we pull back.
Yeah, it's always tricky when you have a 2 day run like this. There's always a lot of bit of air. There's always a lot of air below. Obviously, you've taken out all those other levels, so there's not a lot of reference points. So that's the one thing. If we do start to go into sell-off mode, you can give back. Don't be shocked to give back 10 or 12 points in a hurry if we start to sell off. I think the bulls are still in charge here, though I tend to agree with you a bit that I think we might test some of these resistance areas before we start breaking down. But who knows? This thing is so headline-driven. Something could come out middle of the day and they start selling them off. Everything's headlines. GE here though, this one has really been moving here too. That a 4-year high for GE?
No, no. You had a high at 2117 on March 1st of 2011.
Okay, so we are going back quite a ways. We got to get back into 2011. So
Yeah, 4-year high, man. You know where this stock has to get back for a 4-year high?
4-year high. So we're
You're fired. I can't believe you even said that.
Where's it got to get to? Oh, that's that $32 level you're talking about. Okay.
38.52.
Oh yeah, no, forget about that.
That-
we're at a 2-year high, not a 4-year
you're
high.
fired.
I'm fired. I'm fired. Yeah, so basically look back here to 2011, that 2165 area we're just highlighting there for Joel. But the stock's in breakout mode here. GE looking good on the charts. I think you're going to find buyers on pullbacks here. It's the same thing, this whole AT&T phenomenon where you got yield, they want to own you. And basically every time you get a pullback in these types of stocks, it's just another buying opportunity. Take a look at the chart of Johnson & Johnson. It's the same type of thing where you've got, you get this pullback here a few sessions ago and people just flock in and start to buy it again because they want yield.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson got within 2 pennies of the 52-week high, which was 69.70, got to 69.68, pulling back just a tad in the pre-market. Interestingly, you have the September 25th high. Remember that in '08, Dennis, when J&J traded 69.97? Well, that's going to support having size there at the $70 level, as people have been holding on to that stock for 4 years or looking to get out even at 70. Coming back on the downside, we've already traded through the close. I don't see major support until Friday's low.
Yeah, keep an eye on that 70 level. Still, obviously, institutional sellers, like Joe was saying, are perched there, and we're going to keep reiterating to you, high-frequency guys will be in the 69.90s, so they know they're going to be leaning on that 70 level. So that's your initial resistance if the Johnson & Johnson rally does continue. We got a few downgrades and upgrades I just want to talk about. JP Morgan getting downgraded at Deutsche Bank here today. It looks like it was breaking out to me, so here's the pullback here. We always talk about it, when you get a downgrade on a stock breaking out, sometimes it's a decent opportunity to pick the stock up on the cheap. Is that the case here in JP Morgan?
Oh, boy, I tell you, I think they were just looking at the charts, okay, and they were looking at this $37 level. 37.20 is what it hit on Friday. It sniffed that level back on June 27th, hit 36.82.
Yeah.
Also hit 36.94 here at the June 20th high. Still trying to get into that gap area, but I don't know. I don't think I'd step in this thing. We had talked about the $34 level, which had been a 50% retracement of the rally from the low here that we made at 30.86. When I told Dennis not to buy the stock,
He's never going to forgive you for that.
It's going to 29, but I still like this whole. I mean, if you're really trying to be a patient buyer on this, you could see this $34 level over the next couple days.
I don't think we get that low. I think this thing gets down anywhere near Friday's low there at 35.51. I think you're going to find buyers. I think you're going to find people covering shorts as well. Still some people caught in this thing. So, in my opinion, I think this pullback from the Deutsche Bank downgrade might be an opportunity to pick the stock up a little bit cheaper. Deere going up here against on a Piper Jaffray upgrade and moving up into this whole $80 area, 78.89. So we're only about a buck away from that big number at 80. Can we see that today?
If it can hold 78.87, that was Friday's high, so I would just keep an eye on that area. If you want to play it from the long side, Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room if it falls below that 78.87. Moving up in the pre-market, did touch 79. Any size there at 79?
I don't see anything here in the book yet, but you never know. Like so many institutions, and everybody puts hidden orders there now. I'd imagine you'll see something at 80. I don't know if you'll see something at 79 on Deere or not, but this stock, you're just looking at the chart here. You know, you had this trend, and it was just basically a one-day super rally there on Friday. I'm always a big fan of the 2-day rally, and obviously Piper Jaffray is too because they're upgrading it today. So maybe it does continue. Hard to say. Lilly getting a downgrade at Jefferies. So here's one that's actually right near its 52-week high. Lilly downgrading the stock here this morning. So interesting setup here. If you think that old 52-week high of 44.67 can hold, we got as high as 44.53 on Friday. Maybe Jefferies thinks it can hold.
You say they upgraded or downgraded?
Oh yeah, they downgraded it. So I'm saying that old resistance, that old 52-week high, is going to be the top on this. Is what Jefferies is trying to say.
Wow, all I can tell you, Eli Lilly makes a move from 41 to 59, and you hit 44.53 yesterday. That's like Apple going from 580 to 640. I mean,
big move.
That's a big move. I wouldn't be stepping in, trying to buy this thing on a long term. I do see some minor support at 43.37, which was the 2-day low. We're only 30 cents away from that. But once again, here's a big cap stock, trades a lot of volume, trading down 62 cents on literally no volume. So
200 shares.
Yeah, some little day trader that took it home long and said,
Jefferies is downgrading. I got to sell this thing right now or I'm in big trouble. So
yeah, 43.59 was the pre-market low, but how much credence can you put in that with this kind of volume?
Do have one merger here for you today. CBI, which is trading down about $3, is buying SHAW for $46. 41 bucks in cash and $5 in equity. The number's 0.12883 shares of CBI. That Shaw's going to get plus the $41 in cash. So obviously this stock's trading up significantly, trading at $44. And if you look at it, if you looked at the trades that actually went by right when the news was announced about 45 minutes ago, you got that news algo, and this is where they really make the money. I know we beat up the news algo a little bit there, because it was overshooting last week. It did overshoot on this one a little bit too, but it picks off all the orders, standing orders at 27, 28, 29 bucks, all the way up, and actually bought it all the way up to 47.38. I don't know why it would buy it that high. It bought 3,000 shares of 47.38, but it more than made up for it with all of its lower purchases. So stock's trading at $44 now. Obviously, the $41 plus that 0.12883 of CBI is going to be the number there eventually. What's your take overall here?
I mean, that's a pretty big bet that CBI is making, acquiring this power generation company in the government services sector. So perhaps they're looking for an upgrade to the grid. We certainly know we can use it in the Detroit area as we frequently experience power outages.
2 days for you.
Yeah, and it's really hard. They're pretty very specific company, but we'll just have to see. I'm sure.
What's your technical on CBI? Because that's the one that's going to move. Like SHW is obviously going to just be following CBI, and it is giving back. So a lot of times these recent mergers, we've seen both the acquiree and the acquirer going up. We're not seeing it in this case. CBI is pulling back significantly on this report, trading down $3.70 here now. So knocking almost 10% off the price.
Right. In the pre-market chart that you're looking at here, nothing but bad news for this stock since the merger came out. It started out trading around $39.50, has hit $37, has not bounced at all off this 37, so there's no tradable bottom in there. Look at this vacuum we've had in this stock. For some reason, it went from 36.06 to 41, which is a pretty big move for this stock. Maybe
the insiders had it backwards and they thought Shaw was buying CBI.
That's
why it ran up for 3 days.
Boy, here's something pretty interesting too. You look at the volume on, there was pretty decent volume on this thing, what, 10 million shares on Thursday, and then it trades a million on Friday.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know. I don't have the volume here in front of me,
Yeah,
so
so that was a pretty light volume rally. I'd really like to keep an eye on this $36 level. If in fact it gets there, you might attract some buying interest there. Had a low on the 24th at 36.06, and then another low at 36.30. So I'd look for 36 to step into the stock if you're looking to trade it.
yeah, I just drew a trend line there too. You can see this upwards trend that's been happening here too. We're obviously going to be pulling back. It looks like towards the bottom end of that trend. So if you think they can, if they think that they're going to turn around and start liking this merger all of a sudden, maybe it gets a bounce off that trend line. But it's probably going to be volatile here. Did it trade up at all off that report? What's the range here? I don't know.
No,
It
no.
went straight down after they
Yeah, it went
reported.
straight down. It closed at 40.70, and then the first trade off the board this morning,
When it,
straight bid that was out there at 40 got whacked, and
yeah,
then the next trade was down near 39.50. So
yeah.
not a huge volume, but this is not a huge volume stock, so we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Well,
Uh,
overall thoughts on the market here?
yeah, you did an okay job on the Big Ten there, but you skipped over Mr.
Oh, we
Softy
forgot
here.
Mr. Softy.
Yeah, Mr. Softy just really hasn't participated in the rally that much. Had a wild ride off the earnings. You see that 31 high, 31.05. It actually traded up to 31.50 in the pre-market that day. And then you snuck here under 29, so you got a gap to fill up to 30. I see a lot of gaps in the 30 handle up to 31. But boy, if I could write my weekly comments now, I don't know if I'd be so bullish.
Come on, you gotta stick with. We're holding your level. You said the 1376 area. We can hold that. We're above there right now, 1378. So
Okay,
maybe we
okay.
get this. Maybe they come in and buy this pullback, and your comments will still be good. So if not, I'll give you heat on the show.
That's what it's all about, folks. So keep an eye on that close up there, 1382.50. Minor support, or we talked at this 1376 level. Below that, things really, really open up. So if you're trying to be bullish like me and it gets much below that 1376, you may need to reevaluate that plan. That's our show for today, folks. Hope we've given you some good information, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.